These are the products of the cycles. So the product of glycolysis is 2-pyruvate, 2-ATP, and 2-NADH. Of pyruvate oxidation is 2-acetyl-CoA, 2-NADH, and 2-carbon dioxide as waste. Of citric acid is 2-ATP, 6-NADH, 2-FADH2, and 4-carbon dioxide as waste. And for oxidative phosphorylation, it's 34-ATP and 6-H2O, or water, as waste. C3 photosynthesis is where the first step of carbon fixation creates a 3-carbon molecule. This is mostly seen in plants. C3 performs both light and dark reactions in their mesophyll chloroplasts. C4 plants separate light and dark reactions. Mesophyll cells are used for the light reactions to capture CO2, which is passed to the bundle sheath cells for the dark reactions. The mesophyll cells of C4 plants capture CO2 by synthesizing malate. Using malate as a CO2 carrier costs energy, but the plant makes this energy cost up by avoiding photorespiration. CAM plants. Cacti and succulents are known as night C4 plants. They have temporarily separated CO2 collection from light and dark reactions. CAM plants open their stomata to collect CO2 at night, when they are less likely to lose water. The CO2 is used to make malate, or malic acid, which is stored in vacuoles. During the day, when the light-dependent reactions generate ATP and NADPH, the CO2 is regenerated from malic acid and used in the Calvin cycle. The storage of CO2 as malic acid overnight costs ATP, but is much more water efficient for the plant. CAM plants evolved to grow in arid environments since they avoid rapid evaporation of H2O from their stomata. They also suppress photorespiration since rubisco bonds only to CO2 to form malate. Rubisco is an enzyme that catalyzes the first major step of the Calvin cycle. It facilitates the fixation of carbon dioxide into an organic molecule. In the Calvin cycle, rubisco's main role is to attach carbon dioxide to rubiclose 1,5-biphosphate, or RUBP. It basically attaches the two together. This is the thylakoid diagram. So the first outer, or the most outer line is called the outer membrane. The most inner line is called the inner membrane. The long oval parts are called the thylakoid, and the groups of the long oval and short oval parts are called the granum, and just the inside, where you usually see chloroplasts, is just called the stroma. Photorespiration is basically a mistake that occurs in plants, and it happens when rubisco binds oxygen to the molecule instead of carbon dioxide. This happens when there's too much oxygen and too less carbon dioxide. And each plant, or each type of plant, has a different way to fix this mistake. And different plants have different solutions to the problem. So for example, C4 photosynthesis, it happens in corn and sugarcane. And basically they undergo a process which basically allows the C4 plant to continue photosynthesis even in hot, dry conditions where there might be an imbalance, but it's still gonna work. Okay, this is the mitochondrion diagram. So you have the intermembrane, which is just located on the inside, the outer membrane, which is just the outside. Then you have the cristae, which are the folds between them. Then you have the ribosomes, which are the dots located all around. And then close to the middle, but in the middle of the space, you have the matrix. And then you have granules, which are the kind of big semicircles, like the kind of dots. And then you have DNA, which is just the rings located all around. These are the steps of the Calvin cycle. So the first step is carbon fixation. This happens 3 times. In rubisco, it basically combines CO2 with RUBP, and that produces 2 3-PG molecules. Then the second step is reduction. This happens 6 times. So ATP and NADH convert 3-PG to G3P. And then 1 NADPH is oxidized into 1 NADP+. The third step is that there are basically 6 G3P molecules at this point. Then the fourth and final one is 5 G3P and 3 ATP are consumed to synthesize the 3 RUBP. And the 1 G3P just stays there, and it just stays in the cycle, so it can continue to happen. This is the cyclic phosphorylation. So it starts at chlorophyll, gets its energy from the photon. It goes down the redox chain and comes back to chlorophyll. However, when it was at CYT, it gave energy to pump out 2 hydrogen plus ions or photons. And after 2 runs of the chain, then ADP turns to ATP because there was now 4H plus, and we know that 4H make 1 ATP. And the H plus give energy to make the ATP synthase to make ATP. This is a cyclic phosphorylation cycle. So it starts at chlorophyll, gets energy from the photon, goes down the redox chain, and comes back to chlorophyll. However, when it's at CYT, it gave energy to pump out 2H plus. And after 2 runs of the chain, then ADP turns to ATP because there is now 4H, and 4H is reduced, and we know that 4H makes 1 ATP. And the H plus gives energy to make the ATP from the ATP synthase.